here on out.
I have taken notes for everything prior to this.
Okay.
So they may not be the best notes, but I have been like writing notes.
Sorry to interrupt, but I was like, I asked Kim and she's like, I don't think so. I'm like, oh, I want to hear it again. I'm
Dang
sorry.
it. We need like
Okay.
an alert that comes up before we start the Zoom or 5 minutes into the Zoom or something. Okay, so now that we're recording, emotional
Sorry.
intelligence. No, you're fine. Thank you very much. Emotional intelligence allows us to affect or appeal to someone in a personal way. So it really is about like relationship management, which is really the whole key to this business. This was a section that Kyle Rainey talked on. And if you guys don't know who he is, he's a former pastor, and him and his wife are both diamonds. They have like, I don't know, 7 kids or something like that. Most of them are adopted. Just this huge heart, and talks about, you know, loving people well. And that's the gist of it. He said, one of the most unloving things you can do is to not push somebody to their full potential. And that really hit home. Like, you constantly think about how you don't want to like, be pushy, I guess would be the word, with the business side and with the business builders. But if you know that they could be good at the business, I mean, he just flat out said, that's the most unloving thing you can do. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry to my people if I've ever like, you know, I don't know, not been there for you, I guess. So that one was kind of big. So we just need to produce meaningful connections that achieve results. Okay, I mean, that's really the gist of it. I mean, we could probably talk about this section all day, but like, this would be almost more of like a person by person topic. Like, okay, today we're talking about Susan, and she did, you know, so just love people well, support them, push them to the point that you know that they deserve to be, and all that stuff. Emotional intelligence. Okay. Okay, let me read through these notes. I think on my PDFs, another thing I was going to talk about was, they basically talked about how consistency beats intensity. So it's more important that you do X amount every day rather than try and play catch up and like blast out a bunch of posts and messages and follow-ups and all that stuff at once. So they want you to decide what your consistency scale is, map it out, do it, and stay consistent. So I don't know if at the top of that worksheet, if you want to put like consistency beats intensity, and then also set your consistency scale and let that be enough. It doesn't matter what Joe Schmo is doing. It doesn't matter what Jill down the street's doing. Like, whatever is your consistency scale, let that be enough and stay consistent. And don't beat yourself up about, you know, I was supposed to fill out this whole sheet 5 times a week and I only did 4 things. Well, do 4 things every day and pat yourself on the back. So that kind of leads into measuring success. What does personal success look like to you? Write it down. Write down what success to you is. Then write down, what does professional success look like to you? One of the things that we kind of talked about was how I think it was gosh dang it, what's her name? Amy? I don't know. One of the trainers. I can see what her face looks like, but I don't remember her name. She talked about a leader that was falling behind on points and was going to do a coaching call with her. And she already knew that this girl was going to be like beating herself up and just super upset with herself about where her business was. Well, she looked back a year from that month and said, did you know that you've gained 200 points since then? And just looking at that one measurement, she realized she wasn't as bad off as she thought she was. Like, those are the kind of things that if you feel like you're not hitting your goals or points or whatever, compare it to something else and know that you are in fact improving or moving forward or doing whatever changes that mindset. And if you can't find something like that, ask your sponsor. Ask me. I will find something to point out that you are doing well and making progress in. All right. Not totally sure how, if I get this percentage, but they said there's only 3% success rate in sales in general. So celebrate success from every event. And they kind of went over like, you know, a messenger event, like, oh, you had 5 people join and 5 people attend the event and one of them joined. Well, that's 1 out of 5. Like, that's a really good percentage compared to what general sales is. Like, don't be discouraged over what you think should be like a huge success. Like, 3% is normal in business and sales in general. I don't know for sure what they're talking about, but don't beat yourself up over things that you think are may or may not be worth your time or whatever. You are making progress, and if anybody is interested, that's a win. If anybody knows somebody that wants more information, that's a win. Like, we could really go through a lot of, you know, things that some people wouldn't look at as successful, but really it is. Data is there to help, not to hurt. Don't measure anything unless the data helps you make a better decision or change your actions. Talk to your upline if you need to address the emotion behind the data. If you're making these numbers mean something that's not positive, let's talk it out. Let's figure out why you're feeling like that and what we can do about it. You are more than a number. And success goes beyond metrics. All right, leading yourself. What are 2 things you can start doing, stop doing, and 2 things you can do to grow? We constantly need to be having these types of lists. 2 things you can start doing, 2 things you should stop doing, and 2 things you can do to grow as a person, as a mom, as a wife, as a doctor, as a whatever you want to, whatever your situation is. Okay, I'm done with this.
Sarah, while you're looking for your place, my notes on that 3%, whereas the example of an airplane taking a 3-degree change, and it's going to make a huge difference on where you land overall. So it's just tweaking the small things that change it even by 1% is going to be a huge, huge difference or a huge change.
Okay. This is actually, this goes with leading yourself. This is a quote they ended with: leading yourself. If you want to lift yourself up, lift someone else up. The next thing is on leading others, which if you even have one person under you, you're a leader, you're leading others. And it's just really good to think about yourself as a leader anyway. Leading others. So people will often leave a full-time job to do something they feel valued doing. Robin Sullivan is a diamond with Plexus. She was an assistant principal and left as a gold ambassador to do Plexus full-time because doing Plexus, she felt valued, challenged, included, like she was making progress, and she had a purpose. That's exactly what Plexus has to offer for everyone. And if for no other reason, that is why we should be bold about the business. We don't have to say, if you enroll 3, you could get your products paid for. We need to say, if you want to do this, you will have purpose, you will be valued, you will be included, all these things. Okay. A lot of people, this is another quote, a lot of people have gone further than they thought they could because someone else thought they could. So if you need to borrow some belief, that's what we're here for. One of the things at the bottom just says leaders make the biggest impact when their team feels cared for. So to me, that's just, I mean, it almost feels like common sense, but at the same time, like if you start to find yourself getting away from that and you're only reaching out like when you need something, you might need to like circle back and be like, by the way, how was your Thanksgiving? You know, that kind of thing. All right. We are getting into basically like loving the people that you lead. So this is interesting. It is impossible to love others if you don't love yourself. So what we really need to do in order to lead others is to take the steps we need to find what we love about ourselves. And they really gave an example of like, you know, if you ask a room full of people, like, what are some things that you want to change about yourself? On and on and on and on. They just have lists of things that they would love to change about themselves. But if you say, what do you love about yourself? They're like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Like, let's stop for a minute and think about something that we love about ourselves. If you want to love other people, you have to find something that you love about yourself as well. Kind of goes back to the audiobooks. when I search for audiobooks to listen to, if I don't already have a list, it's always self-improvement. Like just something to help me realize that there are really good qualities about me and I'm learning them, from this book or whatever. So I know sometimes podcasts are easier, but anyway. Okay. I think next we're going to talk about culture. Apparently Roz, who is a Diamond Ambassador, has the best culture that I want to be on her team. Like she does the most fun stuff with the most fun people and the most fun games. And the way she talked about it, I'm like, man, can you like shoot me some of those ideas? Like that would be so much fun. So we really want to constantly like have that in the back of our mind. Like we don't want our culture to be not fun. And I'm not the best at coming up with like outings or I don't know, like they talked about even like a scavenger hunt. They got together and did like a scavenger hunt. I'm like, I would never be able to do that. I just can't come up with that kind of stuff. So I will definitely need your guys' suggestions on like things that we can do as a team, improve the culture. I know Allie and I talked about, well, some of us in general have talked about if we do have some sort of retreat, we could maybe come to the lake and yeah, we could just do a retreat that is just for team building and getting to know each other. And Gail says Kim had an idea too. I don't know. Okay. This
For
is
a
some of the
retreat, a place to do a retreat. Remember, Kim, you talked about some place for, I don't remember. There was a retreat idea.
Yeah, I remember Sycamore Springs,
yeah, it's
but it's closed
something.
it's closed through the winter. So
Yeah. We have never done a retreat with us, so we definitely need to like put that on the map somewhere. So 77% consider a company culture before applying to a job. 57% consider culture as important as the salary. So, I mean, that's me. I would 100% pick a culture that was way more laid back or, not a strict dress code. Like that's totally me. So I totally get that. Like I am all for a fun culture, getting to know each other, hanging out, not having to constantly be like work, 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 work. People want to feel like they belong to something bigger than themselves. So this group, I mean, people want what we have. They want in our group, they want the camaraderie, the events, the trips, all that kind of stuff. So culture is huge. And I personally am going to need some help with the in-person part of that. All right, culture. I think I'm going to put a poll in our group asking for some suggestions on what they think it would be fun to incorporate. Like some of the people did like, they got together and did a home cooked meal at someone's house like once a month. I can't always make that work, but eventually sometimes I would be able to make that work. And just overall like celebrating wins. I know personally I've kind of gotten away from like all the shout outs. And I think I just got overwhelmed with it, but just truly know that I see all the things that I need to shout out and appreciate all those things. And I will get back to that as far as like creating that culture again that recognizes the things that are happening on our team. All right, that is the gist of it. I do have the December 27th list idea written down. That's something that we talked about on Saturday morning. And basically the 27th list, December 27th, is a list of people who have at one point in your business shown interest, had some sort of reason for not joining, I don't know, just stop talking to you or whatever. And on December 27th, it's after Christmas, before New Year's, they go on that December 27th list. They get one message that I think I have one message saved, but we can tweak it. And Emily Gibson claims that that's like the magic day. And she had like 13 people join a couple years ago. So it's just something to think about as we're trying to get everybody into the funnel for like starting January. But that was a whole separate thing that had nothing to do with Florida. I think I'm done. Questions, concerns?
Amazing information, Sarah. It's awesome. I was listening the whole time. I'm sorry, we were just eating dinner the first time, half of it.
I was eating dinner at 5 o'clock, so we're on different schedules.
Well, thank you for sharing. I enjoyed the information. I'm glad you went. I'm glad that you took so much from it. And so I appreciate the information. I'm going to go back and listen to some of those key points again and some of the things you said I thought were really good. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, those trainers, they really know what they're doing. They have the best analogies and the best advice, and it's just priceless. It really is.
The best thing I could suggest, if anybody has an opportunity to go to any event or any training, it's worth the time and the money investment to get there. It changes you, it changes your thoughts, it changes the way you look at your business. And just like we always say, we're one person away from everything changing our business. We're one event or one training away from us having one thing that can change our business. So it's really important. And I know it's a sacrifice when we have to do events or when we choose to do events, to take time away from our family and the financial part of it. But I've never regretted going to anything that I've ever paid money to go to. And most of the time, and I believe this to be true because I've heard it from just several people, is the free things that we get are great, but we don't have any skin in the game. And so oftentimes we just kind of like, we don't take it as a bigger value because we haven't invested in that way. So yes, I take advantage of free trainings. Of course I do. We all should, but that's it. To take it a different level is to at least have your heart open to some sort of a training. And I know several of us on here have been to several trainings and have invested in that. So yay, you guys.
Yep, I felt a little bonkers having all my trips lined up this year, but I literally went from Gold School to Kansas City. The next day flew out to Ruby's on the Rise, back to Kansas City. We had convention, and then I turned around and went to this one, and it was a whirlwind, but it was exactly how it was supposed to be. And it was so fun. So.
And Hawaii, little thing of Hawaii in there.
Forgot about that one. Yep. All right. If there's no questions, we'll let you guys go. It's 8:30 already. So that went by fast for me, but.
Thank you for sharing all that, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It has literally
Amazing.
taken me this long to get through all my notes because I was still going through my last like couple of chapters right before this call.
And happy late birthday again.
Thank you. All right.
Ashley, you
guys.
missed us singing happy birthday yesterday.
I'm so bummed. I feel like I've had a sick kid in my house for the last 2 months. It's only been about 3 weeks, but we go and I slept through it all because it's been rough. But I told Sarah the day before, I was like, I will never forget that her birthday is December 3rd, and I don't really know why. Like, we grew up down the street from each other for 3 years when we were little, and I just remember it was how cool it was that Sarah's birthday was in December next to Christmas, and I've never forgot that. And then of course Allie, I'll never forget Allie's birthday. It's the same as mine. So happy birthday the day before. So I got y'all beat, but it wasn't near as special, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure that we should all keep our day jobs and not go into singing for a living. Maybe Kim. Kim was like, oh my gosh.
It was just too funny not to take a screenshot of all that.
I don't even know what I was doing.
Oops,
Oh.
there she went. She
Like,
went
she's
out.
gone.
Her dang kitchen, terrible.
Yeah.
All
It
right,
was fun.
guys.
It's fun to have fun. So.
Thanks
bye.
for getting on. Have
I
a good week,
think-
guys.
Is it my week next week?
Mm,
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
yeah.
Seems right. Because last week was Allie, Terry, and then it was me and Brandy.
So I think it's my shot.
Each one reach one starts tomorrow. I don't know if we said that.
Mhm. Shauna's gonna do it or lead us out. Yay, Shauna, thank you for helping. It looks like
Yes.
we have every day but Friday covered. So if anybody on here that wants to do Friday, that would be much appreciated.
All right, I gotta go, guys. My kid needs me. We'll talk to you
Bye.
guys later. Bye.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.